Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final third. And today we are doing our final video for the international break for a while, because there's not going to be an international break for quite a bit, to be fair. I'm pretty sure it's next year. Not pretty sure, I am sure. But this one is going to be another special video, and it is our Premier League hot take video. So we've gathered some hot takes from online, from the people on Twitter, from the people on social media, and we are going to be discussing them and seeing whether we agree with them or not. And us three also have one hot take each that we've come up with. So yeah, let's just jump straight into it. But before we do, Al, do you want to reveal the player from the last video?
Yes, it was Ricardo Carvalho. I think that's how you say his name. Yes,
so, yeah.
Obviously formed a strong partnership to keep that record for Chelsea of, conceding, 15 goals, I think, in a season?
Something like that, yeah.
Something crazy like that.
Yeah, it was. I think it was in the Prem. Well, obviously with JT, so... Yeah. Let's just jump straight into it, guys. So, obviously, this is the Premier League hot takes. So, when we think about hot takes, we're trying to think of something that's, obviously kind of crazy. So when somebody says it, so we've done mostly comparisons in terms of player and player, not really club with club. But we'll start with the first one, and the first one is Eriksen at Spurs is better than Özil was at Arsenal. Now, do you guys want to start that conversation off?
To be honest, I agree with it. Because personally, I do think Özil was slightly overrated. The reason I say this is mostly because of the fans from Arsenal. I think they did rate him as if he was some De Bruyne level midfielder, where I think Eriksen genuinely, I just don't know. I feel like he was a bit more consistent and a bit more output from him. Personally, if I were to have either my team in their prime, I'd put Eriksen in the team. As much as I hate Spurs and stuff, I just don't know. I just think maybe he was a bit more consistent with it. You know what I mean? And I just think overall I prefer Eriksen as a midfielder. And that's what I think personally. I think he was a bit more consistent and maybe clinical. I could be wrong. Maybe if you look at the stats, someone will probably have a go at me and be
I'd say one thing about Özil though. I feel like Özil is, in terms of, I think Eriksen's more efficient when you think about it. I think Eriksen's a bit more, he can do almost any type of because he's both footed, which also really helps. Özil, I think, is more magical in terms of the through balls he's played. There was that one move against Leicester where he literally dictated the play from defense to the goal. It was unbelievable, and honestly, it's one of my favorite assists of Premier League history for me.
Going from that, I think he had better moments, Özil, but I think consistently, I think Eriksen was better.
True. I think Eriksen's had better seasons for Spurs than obviously Özil for Arsenal. Hassan, what do you think?
I do kind of agree with what you guys are saying, but as a number 10, I prefer Özil. I think he provides a bit more, that magical assist, which is obviously more pleasing on the eye. But I think if you want a number 10 who creates more chances, and obviously I think Eriksen's got more assists than Özil. I think Özil, obviously, you have to take to context as well. Eriksen had Harry Kane up front, Harry Kane was starting to get really good. So yeah, I mean, obviously, when you have a striker like that up front, it's gonna create more assists for you and stuff. But I think Özil didn't really have world-class strikers up front. I mean, he had Olivier Giroud, but Olivier Giroud wasn't consistent enough.
He had Aubameyang at one point.
And
Sanchez.
He had a blood clot,
Yeah, but I think Sanchez was... Sanchez was a really good player, but I think he only had 2, maybe even 3 good seasons.
We'll be discussing later as well.
Yeah, that is true as well. But I think Özil as a player is more pleased on the eye to see, whereas I think Eriksen is more efficient.
Okay, yeah. I think that's a good little summary of what we think about that hot take in particular. I think this one is kind of crazy, but maybe further down the line it could be true. And that is that Erling Haaland is already the best Premier League striker of all time.
Look, man, I agree with it. And, I've been giving a lot of praise to Erling Haaland. And, I don't give a what anyone says, to be honest. Quite frankly, look, you can argue recency bias, but have we seen output from a striker like this? In my opinion, I think he's just on another level. I just think
in a goal scoring sense, I completely agree with you. This guy is a goal scoring phenomenon.
Yeah, I think when we talk about a striker, in my opinion, that's what I think about. I'm thinking about goals. Like, if I want a striker,
Agreed.
what do I want from my striker? I want goals. And that's what he does best. That's what he brings best. Bro, we're talking about a player that in his first season broke the goal scoring record and helped City win a treble. Yeah? Like, that cannot be overlooked at all. Yeah? And look, I don't know. Like, we don't have many. I don't even know if there's any other striker that's come in and broke the goal scoring record in their first season. I could be wrong. I don't know that. Maybe like back in the day, but from what I know, he's the only one I know of that's done it, and that's a massive achievement. And look, yeah, I just think the problem is when we look at these kind of things, we think about, you know, recency bias, but then when you look at the players from the past, then you could think about nostalgia maybe. And obviously we can't really confirm it until, you know, he retires and he has a few more years, because anything can happen. He could have like a career-ending injury, literally, you know, in the next game that he plays. But as of now, I think he will. If he carries on the way he is, I think he will definitely be the best Premier League striker of all time, easily.
Can I say something that's kind of a hot take? I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has had more iconic moments.
Yeah, but when you're talking about moments, I'm talking about, like, you know, a fish and...
Of course, I know you mean.
I know you're taking...
I feel like
you're probably taking the mick.
You know what I mean? Nah, but listen...
Fair enough.
I think I agree with the fact that Haaland can be, but I've seen some people actually say that he is already. I don't think that's the case, and
it's hard to say he is already.
Again, listen, because with all these hot takes, you know, like, what if Haaland gets a career-ending injury? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, let's say he snaps his leg the way. Okay, let's not say it, the way his dad did. You know what I mean? Roy Keane comes out of nowhere,
hopefully that
does a kung fu kick right on his knee, and then absolutely destroys his leg. But to be fair, I reckon Roy Keane would snap his leg trying to do that. Haaland's a machine, bro.
Yeah,
I don't know whether you've seen that one clip of Joshua Kimmich. I think he literally tried to 2-foot Haaland and then got injured.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Do you know what I mean?
To
be fair, his physique, I feel like his build, his height, he's got the perfect build for a striker, and his movement is insane as well. Like, I'll be honest, he's pushing being one of the best Premier League strikers already, but I don't think he is that yet.
What I will say is
definitely will be.
He's not just an amazing striker, but he's an incredible professional. Yeah, like when we talk about why he's so strong, why he maybe, hopefully I don't want to jinx him, you know, touch wood, doesn't get maybe too many bad injuries, is the fact that he's such a professional and, you know, takes care of his you know, his body and his physique, and he's always working on it, recovery on top and everything. And I think that is so important. Like, back in the day, these lot were drinking and fucking smoking right after the game, you know what I mean? They didn't give two flying
literally
shits about what was going on.
I heard Roy Keane say they'd grab a doner kebab after the game if they won.
You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, when obviously, you know, sports science and all this stuff comes into it, but I think with all this stuff, it's only going to help these players prolong their career. And, like, obviously, again, anything can happen. Like, you literally, like you say, in the next game, he could get too far and it ends his career. But hopefully it doesn't happen. But I generally just think if nothing like that happens and he carries on in the form that he's in, yeah, easily going to be the best best striker in Prem history.
Hassan, you got anything to add?
I think it is ridiculous to say that he's the best right now, like, of all time. Like, he's the best right now, obviously, in the league. Like, there's no debates about that. But to suggest he's the best of all time, like, I get he's won a lot of things in his career. He's already broken records and everything. But as you guys have said as well, if he gets an injury out of nowhere and, you know, that stops him from, continue scoring goals, then I don't think that the debate is there anymore. I think the likes of, like, Henry, Shearer, Rooney are still better, you know, because obviously they did it for a longer period of time and they're proven to be the greatest of all times. So you can't really suggest that Haaland is the best right now. So you need to give him more time, I'd say.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you think he can beat, like, if he do you think he can beat the Premier League goal scoring record? Or do you
I think
I don't know how many. Let me actually, while you guys discuss that, let me have a look at how many goals he actually got already.
Yeah, go on, Hassan. What are you going to say?
Yeah, I think that he can, but I don't think that, obviously being a striker, the main aspect of it is to score goals. But when you look at what Rooney did, for example, he didn't just score goals, he created a lot of chances for his team and also was a great playmaker as well. So you got to add that aspect to it as well. But obviously when we look at a striker, you look at the goals they score. I think it's a bit too early to tell whether he'll be the best, because, you know, anything can happen in football. But with the current way he's looking, then obviously you can say that he'll definitely get there.
I genuinely think the only thing that stops him is genuinely moving out of the Premier League. That's all I think that's the only
Or
way
an
that
injury,
stops it.
yeah.
Or an injury, obviously. Yeah, touch wood again.
Yeah.
We don't want to
Haaland
jinx
already
him, but
has 99 goals in the Premier League
Jesus,
in 108 appearances with 17 assists.
That's insane,
mate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
Like,
swear in the
I think
Champions
goal
League,
to game ratio
yeah.
is probably the best.
In the
like,
Champions
Premier
League,
history,
doesn't he
easily.
have like more goals in games or something like that in the Champions League, or at least like this?
Do you know what it is? I remember when Haaland first broke through, right? Yeah, that just shows how old we are. I remember when he first broke through.
That sounds
Yeah,
like,
he first broke through and he scored a hat-trick on his first game. And
Yeah,
that
I remember that.
interview. And then it was at Salzburg where he was like scoring loads of... He already had like, what? Within...
Yeah.
Because obviously it was 6 games back then. It was like 8 goals in 6 games.
Yeah.
I'm like, this kid's
Do you know
stupid.
what's
then
so-
he went to Dortmund and then did more. And then City even more.
Do you know what's so funny? I could have sworn I packed his inform when he was either at, was it Molde or Salzburg?
Salzburg. I think it was Salzburg, yeah.
Yeah,
I remember there was an
packing his-
84 rated Haaland, yeah.
And I can't remember, it was probably Charles that told me, he was like, oh, this kid, like, he's something special, whatever it is. And there was just a lot
I
of
remember
hype.
we were in school, yeah? I remember we
Yeah.
were in school and we were walking out of school. It's kind of going down a different path, but I feel like, let's just add this in, why not? Yeah, we were walking out of school. We were going to, because we were in sixth form at the time, and we go to the shop around the corner, right? And then I get this ping on my phone. It's just like a story about this teenager has scored 9 goals in one game. I'm like, what the? That's like not even like, it was like under 18 World Cup or something like that, something along those lines. And it's like 9 goals in one game where they won 12-0 or 12-1 or whatever. It's unbelievable, even at that age. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
On that stage. So it showed he was going to be one of the best. But
Anyway.
yeah, that's with all the respect to Haaland, that's enough about him. Let's move on to the next one, and this one is obviously all the hot takes are crazy, but this one's quite crazy. Reece James is better than Kyle Walker in his prime.
Look, this is what I'd say about that, yeah. I genuinely think that Kyle Walker is just pace, and that's it. Whereas when we're talking about overall attributes, I think Reece James is better in other aspects of his game. I think even like goal scoring, passing, all this, I think he's better than Kyle Walker. And it shows with age. I think when Kyle Walker... Sorry, if Reece... Well, look, Reece James' biggest problem has been his fitness. That's no doubt about that, right? But when you think about, like, let's say Reece James never had those injuries, he was fully fit. I think he would easily end up being, way better than Kyle Walker. You got to understand, yeah, Kyle Walker's been found out now, like, through his age, right? Whereas when you've got players who, possess better, attributes like passing, the shooting, and they're a bit more street smart, you know what I mean? With age, they still know how to adapt. You know what I'm saying? You look at like Modric, look how old he is now, and he's been able to carry on playing because of how smart he is, how he's adapted his game to his age and what he's able to do. I think that's what Reece James will be able to do because he doesn't just rely on one thing. However, obviously, we've got Kyle Walker now who's at Burnley and he's getting, unfortunately, he's just shit now. He just is.
You know what it is? I will say one thing about Reece James. Like I've actually thought about this a lot, and this was back when it was the debate. The debate was Trent, Reece James, and Kyle Walker. Obviously, some people would have added Wan-Bissaka back when he was at Man United, but anyway, that wasn't. I don't think he was in the conversation, to be honest. Between those three, I was thinking a lot. I feel like Trent going forward is the best, easily. I don't think there's any question there. You could say Kyle Walker defensively is the best because he's physically really strong. He's good in a tackle and he's rapid, which really helps.
Okay.
But I feel like Reece James had the potential to be one of the best right backs of all time.
Yeah.
Honestly, I honestly believe that. Like, I feel like he has everything.
That's what my point is. Kyle, the reason I'm saying I think he was better than Kyle, he is better than Kyle Walker, or can be better than Kyle Walker, is the fact that he isn't just one thing, you know what I mean? He isn't just pace, he isn't just, I don't know, passing or just defending. He's an overall really good right back. You get what I'm saying? Obviously, you talk about
everything,
Trent.
yeah.
Trent, absolutely woeful defensively, but going forward, there is no one better than him. Absolutely no one better than Trent going forward. Whereas Reece James, I think he's just really good at all these things when it comes to passing, when it comes to maybe finishing, pace, defending, physicality. You know what I mean? And a lot of people have, come out and, a lot of players have come out and said like they've struggled the most against, was it Reece James? And it just shows, you know what I mean? But yeah. Anyway, that's we got a lot more hot takes to get over. So
we do have a lot more, and I feel like Hassan might want to get involved in this one a bit more coming up.
Of course, yeah.
Patrice Evra is better than Ashley Cole. Go on, Hassan. Give us a little bit of an insight on that.
Oh, look, I think that Patrice Evra was a very good player. Obviously, up front, I think when it came to attacking sense, I think that Patrice Evra was better. I think he was technically better on the ball. Whereas defensively, I guess you could say Ashley Cole was a bit better. I mean, he kept a lot of good players on lock, for example, like Ronaldo. There was many times where Ronaldo described him as the hardest opponent he's faced. But I do think Evra, obviously in the United team, where he won a lot of trophies with them, I think that Evra on the ball was probably one of the best, fullbacks in that generation. He was really good. However, I think that Evra came at a time where United slowly started to decline. So obviously, when Chelsea started to get better, obviously they won the league with Ancelotti in his first season. Evra started to be in a team where the players started getting old and not playing as well. So when it came to 2013, 14, after Alex Ferguson left, he also started to decline. And
you say that, but he joined in 2006 or 2000. I think it was 2006.
Yeah,
and he's how many Premier League titles has he won? How many? Well, he won the Champions League.
He's won five or something.
Could you also
the Champions League?
Could you also argue that Patrice Evra might have better longevity than him? Think about it like this. They both went to the Serie A, yeah? When they both went to the Serie A, Ashley Cole went to Roma and he was woeful, whereas Patrice Evra went to Juventus. No, I don't want to say woeful about Ashley Cole, but he wasn't. Patrice Evra went to Juventus and he was really good for Juventus.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
That is true.
This is no disrespect to Ashley Cole, because I still think he's at least, he's probably the best, mate, or arguably second, whatever you want to say.
Yeah,
but I just want to put that out there.
No, that's not bad. That's not a bad take as well.
Yeah, to be fair, about the right back debate with Trent and Walker, I think that Walker is probably the best well-rounded right back of all time in the Premier League. But I think that what makes a player in that position really good is their consistency, and Reece James hasn't shown enough consistency to prove that he is the best. I think Trent has been more consistent than him, if anything, because I think Trent, as well as he might be terrible defensively, I think he's obviously been a big bonus for Liverpool, and he's won a lot of trophies with them as well. Not ridiculous amount, obviously, but he's won big trophies with them, the Premier League, for example. So yeah, I don't think that you can really compare the two in that way. I think if Reece James played more games, it'll be easier to say who's better. But I do think Reece James had the how do I say, the tools to perform at the best and be the best, but.
Yeah,
the tools and the potential to be the best one, but obviously he just got injured all the time, so it was kind of difficult to gauge who would be better of the two. But I think Walker's probably the best one. Gary Neville for me is also. I think he's top two. Gary Neville, he doesn't. And for me, he's not second because he just did it for a very long time for United. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's no debates for me because he did it for a long time. He was part. People say that Gary Neville was part of a good team and whatever. But to be in a good team, you have to be part of that too. He was with the likes of Giggs, Ronaldo, Scholes, and etc. Right? And not any random player gets in. You know what I mean? So he worked his way up to get to that position, and they didn't replace him for a long time. So I think that Gary Neville was heavily disrespected because he disrespects himself as well. So yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he's a great player, to be fair. The right back debate is quite an interesting one, to be fair, and we can keep on going about that. Even the left back, obviously, debate. I don't know. There's a lot of great players that we can have in those positions, but I feel like let's move on to the next hot take. This one is gonna annoy some people, and it is that Alexis Sanchez at one point was actually better than Eden Hazard.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Look, to be honest, I don't even know where to start with that one. I do think there probably was a point. There probably was a season where Alexis Sanchez was better. I think Alexis Sanchez was very, very consistent for Arsenal. That's one thing I want to say. I do think towards the end with Hazard, yes, at the very, very end, I think the season before he left, he was amazing, right? But there was a couple of seasons before that, I think he was a bit, he wasn't at his best.
There was a season they didn't win the title. There was a season they finished 10th and he was horrible.
That's my point. Yeah, like now, it's nothing to take away from Hazard. He's like, to be honest, he's actually one of my favourite Prem players, to be honest, because of just how good he was to watch. But like we say, in that one time, that period where Hazard was awful, obviously this is going to sound stupid because, yeah, obviously if Sanchez is performing better, he's not. Of course, he's going to be better. But that's our point. That's the hot take. There was a point where Sanchez was better than Hazard. And, that's kind of the hot take. I think that point, I think Sanchez, I can't really think of a bad season for Sanchez at Arsenal. Call me crazy, but I genuinely can't think of one bad season.
Last season.
Maybe.
He wasn't horrible, but I feel like just the second he went to Man United,
mate, Man United Sanchez is like... How do I even explain him, bro? That
could be the worst signing in Premier League history.
One, yeah. How much did you sign it for?
It was a swap deal
for Mkhitaryan.
Yeah.
Right. Well, anyway, yeah, it was an awful signing, to be fair.
Yeah.
Really
Mkhitaryan, terrible swap deal. I don't think they didn't even get a good player.
Hey, Mkhitaryan was a very underrated player. Can I just add?
For United, yeah. And he still is an underrated player, but for Arsenal, he was terrible.
Yeah, fair enough. What do you lot have to say about the Sanchez and Hazard thing?
I'm just gonna add another point onto that. I feel like Alexis Sanchez, right? They are different players. I feel like Hazard again. He's more of a joy to watch in terms of style of play, dribbling, exciting the fans. Because again, when we saw Alexis Sanchez, because we saw him when we went to watch Wales versus Belgium. And we saw him in front of us. He's really small, like he's really, really small. Obviously, he's like quite. Yeah, and Hazard, yeah. I think
it's Sanchez.
You might have said Sanchez, but we get what you're trying to get at.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah, sorry, I meant Hazard.
I was a bit confused.
Played for Belgium or Wales. I meant Hazard. Sorry. But yeah, when you see him, he's really small. But obviously that helps because his low center of gravity, the way he's quick with the ball, the way he can run at a man. Like literally, he's probably one of the hardest attackers to stop because the ball just sticks to his feet. Do you know what I mean? And he's able to control it. That goal against West Ham in his final season, unbelievable. But I think Sanchez is a bit more of a bully.
Yeah, he's a bit more. No, I agree.
And I feel like he can get more of a will. He scored some worldy goals for Arsenal. To be fair to him,
I think his finishing Sanchez is insane. His finishing was really good.
Yeah, 100%. I'd just say that. To be fair, that's probably the point I'll add.
Yeah, for me, I'd say that Sanchez in terms of output was better than Hazard. I think that Hazard was more consistent and obviously was a bit more of a showboater in terms of dribbling and stuff. Like, to me, Hazard, in terms of dribbling, he's like one of the closest players to Messi. The way he dribbles is very similar to Messi. So obviously, when you like to watch plays like that, it is very pleasing on the eye. But I think Sanchez, in terms of raw output, in that season, 2016-17, he was insane. He scored 30 goals for Arsenal and 15 assists as well. So yeah, very good season for him. I think in terms of the best season, I think Hazard, I think Sanchez had a better prime season than Hazard. Whereas Hazard, I think consistently was a bit better.
Yeah, that's fair enough to say that because again, they're hot takes, but they're debatable, And we'll go on to the final hot take that we found from online, and that is N'Golo Kante is better than Rodri.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy when you try to think about it because obviously one's got a Ballon d'Or and the other doesn't. But obviously you got to understand that Kante at the time is, he's coming up against Messi and Ronaldo when we're talking about Ballon d'Or debates here, right? So it's kind of not really fair. Whereas Rodri's, Vinny Jr. I
mean, Kante is a World Cup winner, to be fair.
Yeah, World Cup winner. But look, I think Kante, it's hard to say because look, Kante, he could do everything. He was everywhere on that pitch. You know what I mean? He's bro, I don't even know how to explain it, bro. One of you lot take it ahead because
for me, right, I would say that N'Golo Kante can literally do everything as a midfielder. Agreed. He can score more. I feel like Rodri, right, he's more of a sitting midfielder. He dictates the game, right? And
100%.
that's fair to say his passing is probably better, but I feel like Kante's engine just helps him so much.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen him run from his own half, because it was in that season they won the Champions League where he's running from his own half and he gets like some crazy assists. Like, I feel like obviously Rodri cannot dribble the same way Kante can, right? And I feel like Kante, I mean, in a midfield too, imagine Kante and Rodri, that's all I'm going to say. That would be an insane midfield. Like, that would literally be perfect. But in the sense of comparing the two, I feel like Kante was way more influential, if that makes sense,
I
for
agree.
Chelsea. Because the Chelsea team that won the Prem, the Champions League, you know, those teams are not,
Let's not
they're
forget
not
the
comparable
Leicester.
to the Man City ones. They're not at all. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, Man City even had Fernandinho before, who was also a great player, and obviously they won the Premier League with him. I feel like Kante is more influential to Chelsea at the time than what Rodri was to Man City, which is crazy when you think about it. But think about it a bit more, I feel like it's true.
What I can say as well, I think Kante can run a midfield on his own. Like, you see Pogba when he was at United, he was struggling a lot. But when he played for France, for example, he was like way more free. He was able to do what he wants, go up further the pitch and stuff. Because Kante can do everything in terms of defensive work and just run after the ball, you know. You know that, you know, if Pogba can go up front, Kante is always going to be behind and just intercept the ball and, you know, help out defensively, you know, because he was everywhere on the pitch. Like, you can rely on him to do everything. So I think for me, Kante is like what most players want on their team, that type of player.
Yeah.
Whereas Rodri is like what you want in your system type of thing. Like,
Fair.
if you're
I think
playing
he's more of a
sense
luxury
football.
player.
Yeah, I agree as well. Yeah. I think that
you-
most managers would want Kante on the team, but Pep
That's
would
what I
want
was
a
going to
Rodri
say.
in his team.
I was going to say, if you ask me who would I rather have up in my team, I'm taking Kante every
Yeah,
time.
me too.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm taking Kante every time.
I mean, yeah, it's a very good debate. Obviously, you could say Rodri has a Ballon d'Or, but again, I feel like Ali
But
was
who
saying,
is
I
he
mean,
that-
that
who is he coming up
Leicester-
against?
that Leicester
Vinny
season
Jr.?
alone.
Vinny Jr.
You got to remember that Leicester season alone for Kante too.
Yeah.
Like, think
Yeah,
about
that's
it.
true.
I
These
think
guys-
his Leicester City, like Premier League, is more of an achievement than Rodri winning a Ballon d'Or. If you know what I'm trying to say,
like the treble season, yeah,
you get what I'm saying.
100%. I agree with that.
Bro,
I agree with that. I feel like,
Yeah, I'm not even going to say anymore. I don't have to say anymore.
like, bro, the guy came from like what, the third or second division of France,
Yeah.
to come into the Premier League and then be probably the most influential player for Leicester. I would say that.
Yeah.
Obviously Mahrez and
Yo,
Vardy and all that.
Big shout out to whoever scouted him because, like,
Yeah.
crazy. Because like, brother, what like some random place in France, and he's managed to find this guy. I think you don't really fathom that. Like, all it takes is like him not to go on that day, and that never happens. Like, he never
Just
gets
one
signed,
game.
never gets, never goes to Leicester. Leicester never win the league. You know what I mean? The butterfly effect. It's just crazy to think about.
Bro, it's with like the Leicester signings for that season. You got to
Yeah.
deep it, like the way they made these signings. Kante from like a lower division in France. Same with Mahrez. And Vardy obviously was a non-league player. Do you know what I mean? So they're crazy how those three players, like, let's be honest, they're probably some of the most iconic trios.
I think
in
they're the
Premier League
biggest
history.
zero to hero.
Yeah, 100%. Biggest zero to
hero.
hero story. And Kante is like on another level because he won the World Cup with France and literally was probably... he was honestly probably the most influential player in most of those teams, even in France. Like, he literally... Do you know what I mean? Pogba was probably the most flashy midfielder, but Kante did everything.
He allowed him to be flashy because Kante did all the hard work, you know what I mean?
100%.
Exactly.
100%.
So, yeah, that is the final hot take. Very interesting ones, to say the least. I think we've discussed them to a relatively good degree. Well, obviously, we agreed with some. We agreed with... we disagreed with some too. But I feel like it's now time for us to add our own little...
Hot takes.
Salt to the wounds, you know what I mean, to the fans that are a little bit annoyed. But listen, we're going to come up with our own hot takes, and we'll start off with the same order we usually do. Al, what is your hot take?
My hot take is that Bowen is better than Saka. Yeah, and I don't give a shit. I've been saying this for a long time, and the reason I say this is I think Bowen's had more of an impact on West Ham than Saka's had on Arsenal. Think about it like this: has Saka scored a goal for Arsenal that has won them anything? No. Bowen has scored in the Conference League final in the dying minutes of that game to win. Yeah, 1-on-1, composure, wins us the game. What has Saka done? He missed a penalty in the Euros, and, you know, I don't want to give it to him. He was young, so we forget about that. Fair enough. But what has he genuinely done for Arsenal that has been that impactful? Bowen is like... Bro, there's already rumours about him possibly even going to Liverpool. And he's got so... Like, I think if Bowen's in a better team, because as much as I love West Ham, I think if he's genuinely in like a Liverpool, he's getting more goals and he's easily better than Saka. Like, people are agreeing with me easily. You get what I'm saying? I genuinely think he's been more impactful. Now, I'm not going to... Like, I'd love to say he's more clinical, but I'm pretty sure they got like similar goals, if I'm being honest. So it'd be stupid to say that. But...
You could say that Saka's had more chances.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Bowen has genuinely been carrying West Ham on his back for God knows how long, since he's come in. I'll be honest, I think his first season was a bit iffy, but like, since then, he's just been immense, and I don't think I have to say it, everyone knows it. He is literally, at the moment, you could argue Mr. West Ham in that sense, because... I mean, obviously not just because of how much he's carrying us, but, you know, his little connection with his wife and Danny Dye. But we don't need to get into that. But genuinely, no, more impactful in my opinion. And to be honest, I think Saka is a bit overrated. I think he's a bit of a fraud. And to be honest, he's been ghosting for the whole season, really. This season... If we were talking about this season, I'm sorry, but there is no debate. This season, Bowen's been better. I don't care. Genuinely, now, I know he might have scored recently. I don't know when it was. Or
it was in the England game.
Yeah, right. So if we're talking Premier League, I genuinely think it's been like, I can't even, like 20 odd games or something like that. Stupid since he scored a goal. And this is in an Arsenal squad, by the way. If this was in like... flipping Wolves, I would be like, fair enough. But we're talking about an Arsenal team that, you know, is, you know, first in the Prem, you know, all these amazing players, whereas Bowen is getting goals left, front and centre for West Ham on his own, creating it out of him just by himself. But yeah, no, that's why I think Bowen's better than Saka.
That's a hell of a hot take. Hassan, what's yours?
Well, mine is a bit of a hot take as well, kind of similar to Ali's one, to be fair, but maybe to a different level. But yeah, for me, I say Bruno Fernandes is the best midfielder since he's joined. Look, I know there's KDB, who's obviously like one of the greatest midfielders in Premier League history as well. However, like the way I see it, Bruno's been a quite unfortunate, you know, timing of Man United. Like he's coming at a really bad time. I think that you put Bruno in a City team, a Real Madrid team, and a Barcelona team, you know, he'll show off his colours way more. Because when you look at the stats here, Bruno actually scores more goals per 90 than KDB. Although KDB gets more assists in general, Bruno Fernandes has created the most chances since he's joined. So this goes to show that when you play in a worse team, you're not going to get as many assists. Because Bruno creates all these chances, but if his attackers don't finish it off for him, he's not going to get assist, you know what I mean? So there's all wasted chances. And he's been carrying us for 5 years. So I think it's, you know, I think he does get disrespected quite a lot. I think people forget how good he was when he first joined because he was the main man at United. But now obviously the role's kind of been shifted now. We made good signings now, like Mbeumo and Cunha. So the weight off his shoulders kind of been relieved a little bit. But I still think that, yeah, like I think he's still a very good midfielder, and I think that people comparing him to the likes of Palmer and Ødegaard is very disrespectful to his name. Like those two don't get anywhere near him, especially Palmer because he's not been consistent enough. He's had a good season last season, but towards the end of that season he wasn't great. So yeah, when you look at Bruno, he's been carrying us for a very long time, and without Bruno in our team, we play much worse. Like there's games I remember people are saying take off Bruno, he needs to rest, he needs to, you know, not play this game. But when he doesn't play, we lose that sense of like control in the midfield. Look, I know people say he's not the best captain or whatever, but you can see the impact he has when he's on the pitch versus not on the pitch. So yeah, that's my take. You know, it might be a bit of a ridiculous take because yeah, De Bruyne is, you know, one of the greatest, but I think if you put Bruno in a different situation, he will definitely show why he's better than De Bruyne.
I mean, again, this is a hot take video, so not everyone's supposed to agree with you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
again, that's your hot take. Fair enough. Whether I agree with it or not, I'm not going to say. But I'll give you my hot take.
I mean, you can if you want.
Hot takes... You made a good debate, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm not gonna answer that. I will leave that to the fans. Or you know what I mean, you guys can comment and you tell us if you agree with these hot takes or not, and give us a hot take of your own. Do you know what I mean? Maybe we can
do another
include it in
video.
another video in the future. But let's get on to my hot take. Now, I think my hot take is probably the most reasonable out of all of ours, and it's probably been had a lot or said a lot more, but a lot of people will disagree with it. I believe that Premier League Cristiano Ronaldo is better than Premier League Henry. Now, obviously, people say that Premier League Henry is the greatest of all time. I have a couple little things that might change your mind on that. Just Ronaldo's better. Obviously, in career-wise, you can say that. Obviously, it's not a question, but we're talking about just Prem, right? Ronaldo won more Premier Leagues. One more, obviously, in a shorter period of time. You can say it's the teams, but I feel like Ronaldo was so influential for that. And he won every single trophy possible, both team-wise and individually. Obviously, including the Ballon d'Or. Won the Ballon d'Or at the age of 23, just to keep that in mind. Henry joined Arsenal at 22. So, I mean, the same age, different results. Do you know what I mean? Henry also never scored a final goal for Arsenal, where Ronaldo scored 3 for Man United. Clutching up, as he's always been known as Mr. Clutch, you know what I mean? And, obviously, you compare the ages that they were there. Henry was there for a longer period, and he was in his prime, from 22 to, 30 or something like that, or 29, where Ronaldo was 18 till 24. So, I mean, Ronaldo was right at the beginning of his career. And obviously, if prime Ronaldo was in the Premier League, it wouldn't be a question, really. But I feel like even now, that Ronaldo season, obviously, is the best season any Premier League players had, I believe. And I don't think that will change, because he did so much in that season and won every single individual trophy and, well, not every single team trophy, because he only won the Prem and the Champions League, but those are the trophies you care about, you know what I mean? So, and the fact that he was a midfielder as well, I say midfielder, he was a sort of a deep winger, if that makes sense. As for me, that's the thing I think about. I think Prem Ronaldo is better than Prem Henry. Whether you guys agree with that, we'll have to see if you do. But yeah, that is the end of the hot takes video. Do you guys want to add anything before we?
To be fair, can I just say I want to say something with Hassan's hot take. To be fair, I do think that Bruno is in a better team. That the debate is much closer with De Bruyne. I mean, bro, Bruno's putting balls into dickheads flipping Martial half the time, Rashford, Højlund. No offense, obviously Martial was good for a bit, but obviously then he just completely fell off. You know what I'm saying? Whereas De Bruyne is putting balls into Aguero and Haaland. We're talking about some of the best Premier League strikers ever. Bro, and that's no disrespect to De Bruyne. No, we're not trying to say these players are awful and this and that, but of course, De Bruyne again.
Also, Bruno, he never misses a game. This man's played nearly every game for us. He doesn't get injured. De Bruyne, towards the end of his City, tenure, he was just, he was getting injured. He wasn't really involved in the team, and then he started making his way back into the team. Whereas Bruno's been always in the team. You know what I mean? There is no United game without Bruno in it, which is what I want to say as well.
Fair enough.
The Henry and Ronaldo, you said something about Ronaldo being. I don't know why people always say that, because there is to Ronaldo being a midfielder. I saw him as more of a
not midfielder. Winger. No. He's a winger, but he's a deeper winger, because the formation that Ferguson played is 4-4-2. Yeah, right? But Henry's the striker. He's the striker of the team.
Of course,
right?
yeah.
So Ronaldo was in. Obviously, you look at how players play now, as in Mo Salah. You compare with that, right? He's an inside forward. You said that before, right? Where he basically is a striker. Let's be honest. He's just a bit of a wider striker. But I think Ronaldo had to do way more. He had to be defensive as well and going forward. Do you know what I mean? That's how Fergie's system.
I think Ronaldo in the team, of the players that win the team, he had more freedom to go up front and go back a bit more. He wasn't forced to do that role, the defensive role, that much.
You can say that about Henry too.
Yeah. But for example, a lot of times, I know a lot of United fans say the same thing as well. But I think Ronaldo, when he was kind of playing the same position at Real Madrid as well, that left side of the pitch or the right side of the pitch, but just the inverted way. You know what I mean? He was playing the right instead of the left. But I think that Ronaldo was still playing quite high up the pitch. But I still think that in terms of prime seasons, I think Ronaldo has the better prime. That 2007 or 2007-8 season.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 2007-8 season. That season there is probably the best Premier League season of any player. So
I mean,
because he won the
he won a Ballon
he won the Ballon d'Or. He won the Ballon d'Or. He won the Champions League. He won the Prem.
You won every
And
individual trophy you could win.
yeah,
I
and
don't know
his
what you
goal.
saw. Do you know the
his goal was
season that
insane.
Rodri won the Ballon d'Or?
Yeah.
I feel the individual trophies, like the best player, as in like the European one where you get for the Champions League. Vinny won that. The Ballon d'Or was Rodri. The Puskas was Garnacho. Ronaldo had won all of them.
Yeah.
Everything, even the Puskas. This guy scored that goal against Porto. My God, this guy could. That's what I'm saying. Everything. Like the type of goals he'd score. Do you remember how far he'd shoot and it would go top corner? Like
the goal,
Porto goal.
the free kick against Portsmouth as well. The free kick against Portsmouth as well.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Bro, Ronaldo was a phenomenon.
Yeah, that season That season is probably the best season I've seen from a Premier League player, easily.
Do you know what I mean? And I feel like that also gives him the edge in that sense. So, yeah. Yep. Again, it's a hot take for a reason, Maybe we have fans that disagree with it, viewers that disagree with it.
To be fair, so we got to take it into account.
We are United fans, but also you got to take into consideration. Al, maybe if you want to add something.
What to that? To what now? Well,
I don't know if you want to add to that. Whatever you want to add,
No, I was just going to be like, if anyone's got any hot takes, to leave them in the comments, obviously, because we're probably going to do another hot takes video in the future at some point, and it'd be nice to react to your lot's hot takes, to be fair. No, like in terms of the Ronaldo Thierry Henry thing, when you talk about his individual season, Ronaldo obviously had the best individual season out of the both, so but no, there's not really much to it. I think Arsenal fans, you know what they're like, always defensive and just always crying. And,
defensive, just like their teammate. Unbelievable. Yeah. Corner FC. But okay, let's stop talking about Arsenal. We're just going in on them now. But I feel like when it comes to doing another hot take video, by the way, it will have to probably be during the international break or maybe even during the summer. I feel like, and also hopefully by that point we've grown enough where we can start asking for your hot takes and then we can react to them. That will be another thing that will be very exciting. Maybe further down the line we can do more things, maybe live videos where you guys can give it to us live then and there. But at the moment, 100%. This is what we've got. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. We really appreciate it. But before we go, Al, do you want to give us the quiz for the next player?
Yes. So let's start with the first fact. As a youth player at Malmo FF, he briefly quit football at age 15 and considered becoming a dock worker before his coach convinced him to return. Second fact, his first ever goal for Sweden's senior national team came in a friendly against Azerbaijan in 2001, and he wore number 19, not his famous 9 or 10. The third fact, when he joined Barcelona, he insisted on keeping his Ferrari Enzo and other supercars inside his rented villa. They were delivered by crane over the house wall. Fourth fact.
With fact.
His autobiography describes a detailed argument with then-coach Fabio Capello at Juventus, who forced him to practice volleys for hours using VHS tapes of Marco van Basten as reference. And for the fifth and final fact, he scored his first Serie A hat-trick for Inter against Torino in 2007, and all 3 goals were with his weaker foot.
That's quite a difficult one,
That's a crazy fact, to be fair, at the end.
Why is the third one a fact?
Anywho, to be fair, I think you can actually get it off that, if I'm being honest. And just let us know in the comments if you know who that is, and obviously we'll reveal him in the next video.
I feel like it's quite a difficult quiz, to be fair. It's going to be a bit of an interesting one, because there's not really many Premier League facts there. But okay, let us know who you think it is. Again, thank you guys for coming in. We really appreciate your time. Again, you have any hot takes, you have any comments on the video, please let us know. Thank you guys for coming in. Please leave a like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell so you get notified when we upload videos, and we will see you on the next one. Take care, guys.
See ya.